Go! Let's fucking go.
So I saw Deadpool and Wolverine this Sunday, and when I tell you this is probably the funniest movie I've watched in a long time, that is no joke. That is no hype up of this movie. I genuinely have not laughed that long at a movie in such a long time. Now, I like good, goofy movies. I don't really care if it's the best comedy out there, but like, if you can make me genuinely gutturally laugh at a lot of stuff, even if it's super goofy or super funny, get me invested in making me laugh, and I think you've done pretty well on that part. And that's exactly what this movie did. I mean, like, this is the first time I've worn this hat since my stepbrother gave this to me years ago. First time I wore this hat. I didn't wear it to any of the two Deadpool movies, but I was like, I'm gonna wear it for this Deadpool movie, and I'm glad I did. God, this movie was so funny. But yes, it is absolutely what you think it is. It is absolutely a Deadpool movie. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman deliver as their role as Deadpool and Wolverine. The cameos in this movie were fantastic, which, by the way, I'll put it in there. I'm not going to put any spoilers for this. I just really want to talk about the movie. No spoilers. I want people to go into this movie as blind as humanly possible. And why I want you guys to go in as blind as humanly possible? Because the cameos in this movie, some are deep cuts, some are genuine shock, and some are kind of like these fulfilling this, like, I didn't realize I needed this, but as a fan of X-Men characters and the X-Men comics, I am so glad this character finally got their moment to shine on the big screen. So I want every one of you guys, please do not go and please don't watch too many trailers. Like, maybe watch the first one if you're like, I'm not sure if I want to watch the Deadpool movie. First off, if you like the first two movies and you're not sure if you want to watch this one, how could you even have that? If you enjoyed the first two Deadpool movies, you will absolutely enjoy this one. This is still very much Deadpool across the board. I'm not even sure if they genuinely were like, hey, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, just have fun. We have a script, like, stay on script, but have fun, because these guys were absolutely having a good time. So again, if you liked the first two Deadpool movies, I can't possibly imagine that you wouldn't like this movie. But the movie is everything you'd expect from a Deadpool movie. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are phenomenal in their parts as the characters. We know they work with the TVA in this movie. I think the plot for the TVA was fine. I think it was fine. I don't think it was anything like too crazy or too out of the ordinary. But yes, they do work with the TVA. I think it works just fine. One of the characters in the TVA is a character from the Loki series. There's tons of references to Loki throughout this movie, even by itself. If you are hoping to see more from like the characters of like Dopinder, Colossus, Megasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio. Hey, Yukio.
Hi, Wayne.
Hi, Yukio.
They're not the main focal point of this movie. This movie really is a Deadpool Wolverine movie with cameos and that's what it is. It's for the fans. This really just feels like a movie for the fans. It feels like a movie for the Deadpool fans that have watched all his movies. It's for the fans that were fans of the Fox X-Men universe. That's for them. It's for the fans of the Wolverine fandom. It's everything. It really is, and in a great way, this also is a swan song for the Fox universe of Marvel movies. This was really, when you watch the movie, you're like, yep. And by the time you actually, as you watch the movie, you're like, yep, this is definitely showcasing these Fox characters. Tons of that. I'm sure plenty of you got spoiled on at least that. I'm not going to say names. Definitely not going to do that to you guys. But there were tons of Fox characters from their Marvel universe that did appear in this movie. This was definitely a movie for the Fox Marvel universe fans, and this was definitely like a swan song for the Fox fans as well. Was this movie perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's absolutely not perfect, and that's okay. I don't think this movie was ever intended to be a 10 out of 10 from a writing narrative. I still think the writing's fine in this movie. I still think the plot makes sense for this movie. It works. There are no big narrative issues. A lot of it takes place in a certain area that allows for this wackiness and the cameos and the alternate realities and all this stuff. It takes place in an area that works the best for it. So I don't see how people were like, it makes no sense. Yeah, it does. It does. If you've watched Loki or you know anything about the comics, it absolutely makes sense. If you were someone that didn't watch a lot of the movies in the Fox universe, there might be some areas where you're like, I don't quite get this character's relevance. I don't get why this character's so important. I don't get why these people are cheering. Hey, if that's the case, just put that out there on the social media. Somebody will answer it for you. And I might eventually make a video myself explaining why certain these cameos were great. There were some of the characters make statements in the film that you're like, is that a direct just statement towards it, or are they just having fun, you know, tongue-in-cheek type of situation? Is this a movie you should go watch? Absolutely. Do you want a good comedy? Yes. Do you want to laugh your ass off? Yes. Do you want to show support for Deadpool? Yes. It's all there. It is all there. The jokes are there. This really is a Deadpool movie. I think they've even amped it up more from the very first two Deadpool movies. This movie is set up in a way to where Wolverine, which I don't think, if that's a spoiler for anyone, by the way, sorry, but there's no way you don't know at least Wolverine's in this movie. Wolverine brings the heart and the emotion and the rawness in this film. Deadpool is definitely the one driving the comedy forward, and that's their dynamic, by the way. If you know nothing about them from the comics or the animated series that are out there, Deadpool is definitely the type of character, when these two interact in the comics, Deadpool drives the comedy, Wolverine's the straight man. Now, does Wolverine play it absolutely downright straight across the board? No, he's definitely having fun. He's definitely has some moments where make you laugh. You're definitely like, Hugh Jackman was definitely less serious, I think, in this portrayal of Wolverine than any of its other Wolverines. And no, this movie does not contradict Logan. I've seen a ton of that come out. This movie does not contradict Logan in the slightest. It allows Logan's movie to end in the way it ends. I know some people are going to get really mad at that intro, or at least the opening moments, that once Deadpool starts to go do Deadpool-y things. I know y'all are going to have some issues with that are big time Logan fans. But Logan's story, the movie with Logan, right? Everyone's the swan song that Hugh Jackman was like, this is my ending time as Wolverine. That movie still ends the way that movie ends. They do not retcon that death. I will say that much about it. They do not retcon his death. That Logan dies. That Logan does not come back to life. That Wolverine is gone, right? So if you're wondering how they're going to play it up, I will say that much about it. The Wolverine that dies in Logan is dead. Now, I hope a lot of you go watch this movie even before you watch this, but that might be the only thing that might bum some of you out by me saying that, but I had to say it because I see a lot of people talking negatively about this movie, saying Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine in this movie retcons Logan. It does not. It absolutely does not. And they explain why it doesn't. They tell you why it doesn't. I don't see how people can still say this about it and go, yeah, well, it destroys Logan. No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not, because the Logan movie ends with Wolverine's death. That does not change. And again, this movie explains how that still works. So if you're listening to people being like, it ruins it, it doesn't. It absolutely does not. And you have to go see the movie to understand why they don't. More so than me just telling you. It absolutely does not ruin the Logan stuff. But I'll tell you this, that scene, if you haven't seen it, the whole opening segment where he goes to recruit Wolverine, not only is the stuff with the TVA great, and you will realize it when they get, I'm sure some of y'all have already seen it. If you've managed to avoid spoilers on TikTok and Twitter and everything, so good. Don't. Try your best to avoid spoilers and go into this movie, because I know Twitter is blowing up a certain song right now because of this movie. And while that is probably the best opening, well, that's not even the opening of the movie. Like, that's like 15 minutes into the movie. Well, Actually, no, take that back. I almost forgot. No, it is the opening of the film. I kind of misconstrued that a little bit. No, they do the opening segment, then they do the typical freeze frame. Let's tell the past a little bit, then they carry back. My bad. I almost forgot about that. That absolutely is the opening scene. You get the setup with the stuff with Logan, him going to find Logan, TVA, all that stuff. Yeah. I forgot that's the opening, and you get the opening and you have the song. God, you got to see this stuff. This movie is fantastic. Rambled way too long. If you are a fan of Deadpool, if you were a fan of the Deadpool movies, go watch this movie. This movie is absolutely an 8 out of 10. 8.25, 8.5 out of 10. Is it perfect? No. And in terms of like movie, if you're looking for this type of like 10 out of 10 movie with the writing, the character, blah, it's not. But is it a perfect Deadpool movie? Yes, it is a perfect Deadpool movie. It is hilarious. You'll have a good time. This is not a movie to go turn your brain off, though. Please don't do that. Every movie you watch should always have, I need to watch and pay attention. Please don't turn your brain off. But will you have a good time with this movie? Will you laugh at this movie? Will you enjoy yourself with this movie? Absolutely. Please go watch Deadpool and Wolverine. It is easily going to be the funniest movie of the year, without question. Funniest Deadpool movie, hands down. And I cannot wait for everyone else to see it. And please go watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.